Hey everybody, KennedyHawk here. We are going to start our solo core set deck playthrough with the new camera setup. Looks like I got a little bit of shadow lighting problem that I got to figure out, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But for today, I want to at least play one of the games I'm planning to do for my solo playthrough series. So I'm going to be using actually the decks from my multiplayer deck building video in our deck building guide 101. So first thing I'm going to tell you when we get to the solo deck building video is don't use a multiplayer deck in solo. But sometimes they can work out if you're playing Leadership or Justice. So we're going to take our Leadership Carol Danvers deck from Multiplayer Deck Building 101, Video 1, up against Standard Rhino. It should be no problem. We've got lots of allies. Rhino hates allies, so we should be good to go. So I'm just shuffling up the villain deck here. I've got Rhino set up with Bomb Scare and Standard, because this should be the first game you play when you get a new core set of Marvel Champions. So we're just trying to sufficiently shuffle everything because I recently went a little bit overboard organizing my collection and organized all the villains and counter sets in numerical order to make sure I wasn't missing any cards. Something that hopefully none of you ever have to do if a child spills a box of cards, but if you do, I understand. I've felt your pain. So we've got our encounter deck all shuffled and set up there. I've shuffled Captain Marvel's deck at least once, but we're going to give it a good pile shuffle one more time just for fun. I know pile shuffling isn't supposed to be great, but we're playing a co-op game at the end of the day, so as long as we're having fun, then things are going great. I've got my silo token tray over here from Gamgenic filled with buy the same token tokens. Links to both of those will be available in the YouTube video description. And these playthroughs are going to be a YouTube exclusive content piece. Some of the new player stuff we're going to be spreading over onto the podcast feed as well, but this will be YouTube only. You can check out the community tab on our YouTube page to see my new office setup. I've changed things around so I can have my overhead camera set up all the time. That way I'm more motivated to stream and play games because the mental anguish of having to set up that camera is removed from me. But anyway, everything is set up and ready here to go with our alt art Carol Danvers. We're going to draw our opening hand of 6 cards and we'll take a look. So we've got a Helicarrier, a Mockingbird, 2 copies of Crisis Interdiction, a Power of Leadership, and a Make the Call. So we're going to get rid of some things here. First thing we're going to get rid of are both copies of Crisis Interdiction. We do not need those in our hand. There are much better choices for us to play. I like the idea of stunning Rhino right away. I could play 3 into a Helicarrier, use the Helicarrier with the other 2 to play Mockingbird. So I'm going to pitch these other cards and look for any double resources I can get. We got at least 1, so we've got some good options here. So we drew into a lead from the front, Energy, Alpha Flight Station, Helicarrier, Helicarrier, Mockingbird. We're going to use Carol's Commander ability to draw 1 more card, and it's a Get Ready, which does not hurt us at all. We'll use lead from the front to play Alpha Flight Station. Alpha Flight Station reads Exhaust Alpha Flight Station, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. Let's discard our duplicate Helicarrier. Draw 1 card or 2 cards if in Carol Danvers form. So we'll draw 2 more cards. Look at this nonsense. Oh my gosh. Alright, we're going to use Energy Absorption to play Helicarrier. We'll exhaust Helicarrier and use an Energy to play Mockingbird, who is going to stun Rhino, so we don't get an attack this turn. We'll flip up into Carol Danvers form, and I don't know why we wouldn't, but we'll start punching. We're going to punch for 3 total. I may as well use this Get Ready to ready Mockingbird and punch for 1 more. So she's got 2 consequential damage on her. And we've got this genius in our hand that we're going to keep for next turn because we might draw into a lot of stuff that it lets us spend. We're going to ready everything up, drawing 4 cards. So in our hand now, we have Hawkeye, Cosmic Flight, Make the Call, Inspired, and Genius, which could work out pretty well in our favor. The villain phase is going to begin. So the first step of the villain phase is we're going to place 1 threat on the main scheme, 1 per player. Rhino would attack us, but sadly he's stunned. Shucks for Rhino, and we are just dealt an encounter card, which is an assault. So Rhino will still attack us. That's good, because we've got Mockingbird to block it. So he's going to attack for 2 plus 1 boost icon from False Alarm. Mockingbird is defeated, and Carol takes no damage as she laughs in the villain's face. Alright, it's our go. We've got too much good stuff going on here. I think what I'm going to do is use Helicarrier with Genius to play Hawkeye. He's going to get 4 all-purpose counters. If I could find all my arrow counters, we would use them, but Sadly, my little box of tokens over here is not super organized. It may have flown around on an airplane for a while, thanks Southwest. Do I jump down and grab a Mockingbird too? I mean, for the thematics, I think we should do it. So we're going to flip down to Carol Danvers, draw a card. It's an energy channel. We can throw away a Cosmic Flight to draw 2 cards with Alpha Flight Station. I just flipped down against Rhino, the thing I told you never to do. We'll use Make the Call and 3 resources to go find that Mockingbird in our discard pile and play her again. And we'll throw an energy channel down on the table for good measure. Mockingbird will thwart for 1. Hawkeye wants to sit as healthy as he can so he can shoot minions as they come out. So we're going to ready everybody up. Carol probably should have swung for face first. I forgot to because I'm a bad player. And we will draw our 6 cards. We did not attack with Hawkeye this turn. We'll start attacking with him next turn because we want to wait and see some minions to use all his arrow counters first. So the villain phase begins. We get 1 threat in the main scheme. Rhino schemes against us for 1 plus 0 from Armored Rhino suit. So just for 1. And then we get an encounter card, which is not in advance. It is a Hydra Bomber. I believe even with Hawkeye, we still do the when revealed effect. So I'm going to take 2 damage. And then we'll use an arrow from Hawkeye, which is after a minion enters play, or to move 1 counter from Hawkeye to deal 2 damage to that minion to kill that Hydra Bomber. And it's our go. So let's draw a card with Carol, because our hand and life is a little insane. Let's discard, I don't know, a Vision to Alpha Flight Station to draw 2 cards. And we are going to flip up to Hero form. At this point, we've got too many things that are all good. What a unfortunate life to have, you know? I think I'd rather play Nick Fury than Maria Hill. So let's use our Helicarrier here. With Maria, Get Ready, and Spider-Woman to play Nick Fury, drawing 3 more cards, because we love drawing cards. We have 3 copies of Photonic Blast in our hand. Can we play all 3? Maybe. We don't have a lot of energy resources, so it could be rough. Alright, well let's get some stuff out of the way first. Let's have Nick thwart for 2. Get that threat down to 0. Let's have Carol attack for 2, Hawkeye attack for 1, Mockingbird attack for 1. So let's put our consequential damages out there. We're hitting Rhino for 4 total, that means. So he's down to 6 damage. And we've got 3 allies here that are able to block. We can't play any more allies. So I'm going to use Power of Leadership as an energy resource with Strength to play Photonic Blast. Hero action attack, deal 5 damage to enemy. If you paid with a Lightning Bolt resource, draw a card. We drew into a Lightning Bolt resource, which is great. We could Photonic Blast again and use that to push Rhino to the next phase. But I think that it's a bad idea, and this is a trick to learn as a new player, to push the villain to the next phase too early. If you push them to the next phase before you're ready, then he might get a side scheme or something else nasty. And in fact, in Rhino, we know he'll get a side scheme with a hazard icon. So I'd rather he sit at 1 health for a turn, but I don't want to waste cards in my hand, right? Play out your hand. So we're going to pay these 4 resources for a mansion, and I'll draw a card off the mansion because it could be a get ready. It's not, it's just an energy resource, but we can use that first to heal Carol 1 using her rechannel ability and draw a card. We drew another energy resource, so we can put one of these, we'll just use these yellow tokens, one of these energy tokens out there on energy channel, which is always good. Alright, readying everything up. Our board state's getting a little bit crazy here against Rhino. We're going to draw our 5 cards. That does deck us out, so we are dealt an encounter card to deal with, and we have to shuffle our player deck. Then we'll move on with the villain phase, laugh in Rhino's face, and hopefully defeat him next turn. We've got a lot going for us, so we'll see just what we can do here in a moment. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Always make sure you shuffle well and put the good cards on the top. Okay, that's my magic spell to make things work. Alright, so Rhino gets a threat. Not a big deal. He's at 0 threat. Rhino attacks us. Not a big deal because Nick Fury's here. So he is going to attack for 1, 2, 3, 4 into Nick Fury's face. Nick goes to the discard pile so we can make the call with him later. Oh, and in our hand we have another mansion, a crisis interdiction, Captain Marvel's helmet, and a second energy channel. So there's a good chance we could do a lot of damage. We've got 2 encounter cards to deal with because we decked out. The first is a free flip down, which I love. We're at 11 health, so we're going to flip down and exhaust Carol to remove our obligation from the game, Family Emergency. Get that out of there. And then our second encounter card is a Sandman, who comes into play with toughness because he's pretty tough. So it's our go. Let's see what we can do. We're going to draw a card with Carol. We drew into a Photonic Blast. That's lovely. We're going to use Alpha Flight Station to throw away our second Avengers Mansion and draw 2 cards. Just getting all the cards we can. We are going to flip up to Carol form, and we'll have Mockingbird sacrifice herself to push Rhino to the next phase. That's phase 3. We don't want to do that. We're playing on expert here, or standard here. I know words. All right, so it looks like Rhino is going to jump up to 15 health. 10 and a 5. That'll do. When revealed, search the encounter deck discard pile for Break It and Take In the side scheme and put it into play. And now we can talk about why we didn't push Rhino last turn. We didn't push it because we didn't have much more damage to put in. We were going to waste 5 damage just to remove 1 damage from Rhino, and he gains this side scheme that gives us an extra encounter card. Extra encounter cards, generally bad, even if you're Star-Lord. So we don't want to trigger that if we don't have to. But now we only have to do 15 damage to win the game. We see if we can do it in 1 turn. So we're going to use Triskill. Got lots of things to do. Let's draw a card with Mansion. Let's not be too fast here. Okay, we drew an Inspired. Not the best. We're going to use Triskelion and Energy Channel to put 4 more, not Energy Channel, Energy Absorption to put 4 more tokens onto Energy Channel. We can then use the hero action here, discard Energy Channel to do 2 damage for each energy token that was here. So that's going to pop Rhino for 10 right there. Feels pretty great. We're also playing as Captain Marvel, so we can reduce the cost by 1, use Inspired and Power of Leadership to play Photonic Blast. This Power of Leadership will count as an energy resource, so we do 5 more to Rhino, and we draw a card. I guess Hawkeye could have pinged Tough off of Sandman if I was smart. That would have been a good thing to do. Because if we did, we could have energy channeled, used 2 more resources to deal 4 more damage to Rhino. I guess Hawkeye can just attack into him, save the day. We'll play a second copy of energy channel from our hand to clear out Sandman, just to make sure the board was clear. We left the Break It and Taken out there, but if he breaks and takes things, as long as it's not the shield facility, that's okay. And that was a game using only core set cards against standard Rhino. Pretty quick, pretty easy. Leadership is strong, even in the core set when there's a limited amount of allies. I had a lot of fun with it. Carol's always fun to play because drawing cards is exciting, and playing allies and never taking damage unless you want to is also pretty exciting. So I hope you enjoyed that video. We're going to play through all of the core set villains on standard, and then all of them on expert in solo over the next couple weeks as we build up our new player catalog. I was hoping to get it all done in January. I think it's going to creep a little bit into February just because of my work schedule, but we'll get there as a team. Thanks for tuning in as always. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want more videos like this, and have a great day.